It was a different kind of Passover meal, to say the least. I remember right when I sat down, Philip leaned over to me and he whispers, "Hey Thomas, I feel like something special is going to happen tonight." I looked at him and said, "I doubt it." I was wrong. Jesus got up from the table. He walked over, grabbed a basin of water and a towel. I remember at the time thinking to myself, what's Jesus doing with the foot water? I doubt he's gonna wash somebody's feet. I was wrong. He knelt down and began to wash Bartholomew's feet. Bart just sat there, didn't say anything. He didn't move. None of us did. Jesus finished and went on to James and Peter and the rest of us. I remember at the time thinking, this is so strange, yet so wonderful. I doubt anyone's going to say anything right now. I was wrong. Do you know who broke the silence? Peter.
No way are you gonna wash our feet. That's what I told him. He could wash other people's feet, but he wasn't gonna wash mine. So I looked at him and I said, Jesus, you're not gonna wash my feet. You're the king. And then he looked at me and he said, well then, you can't have anything to do with me. And then I was like, ouch. Okay, wash my feet, wash my hands, wash my whole body if you have to. He just looked at me and said, no, your feet will be just fine, Peter. In the midst of washing our feet, he teaches us servanthood.
Then Jesus took some bread and some wine. He blessed it and he served it to us. He said it was a new covenant with his blood. And he said, tonight, all of you will lose faith in me. I remember thinking right then, lose faith in you? Never. I didn't say anything. I just sat there.
I couldn't just sit there. I had to say something. So I looked at him and I said, Jesus, I love you. You can count on me. Everyone else will fall away, but I will not. You can count on me. He looked at me and he smiled and said, Peter, you'll deny me 3 times before tomorrow morning. Ouch. Next thing I knew, we were wrapping things up and heading to the garden to pray.
Once we got in the garden, it just got crazy. Jesus asked Peter and James, and I got a little further in the garden with him and prayed, and we did. We were tired, and we kept falling asleep. Jesus kept waking us up, and I remember one time he said, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And that was true. It was all blurry. And to think the whole mess got started because of Judas. Do you really think that what he was doing was right?
There he is. He's the one you want. The one praying by himself? Now the others, they will come up and try to create some scene. But the one that I kissed on the cheek, that's the one you want. Now 30 pieces of silver, right? That's what we agreed upon? 30 pieces. Forget about the rest. The one that I kissed on the cheek, that's the one you want.
A kiss? Judas betrayed Jesus with this kiss of a friend. And then things got crazy. Peter, he just grabbed his sword and he chopped this guy's ear off. And Jesus, he sort of reached down and picked it up, put it right back on the guy's head as if nothing happened. And then they just arrested him. I mean, I would love to tell you how we fought for him, but we didn't. Everyone just ran. I ran, and I'm sure ashamed.
What have I done? What have I done? Was I so stupid to think that? I've killed him. I've killed him. I've crucified Jesus.
I crucified Jesus. It's what the crowd wanted, and that's what they got. And personally, I don't feel like that man did anything to deserve that. But I was just a soldier doing my job. When the governor gave his sentence, that's when I would go to work. I loved that job. I felt like I was administering justice every time I nailed someone to a tree. But that man didn't deserve that. It didn't make sense to me.
It makes no sense. There I was, rotting in a jail cell for stealing, murdering, you name it. I've done it. And I knew the next time I stepped foot outside that jail cell, well, I mean, that was it. Until the guards, they came and got me, and they put me beside this guy that was beaten to a pulp. Then Governor Pilate started asking the crowd, which one of these men do you want me to set free? I mean, it was obvious. I mean, the crowd, they're gonna say, let Jesus go. And then I was gonna tell them where they could go. And then the crowd, they started chanting, Barabbas. I mean, they were saying my name. They were saying my name over and over and over again. The guards, they threw me to the crowd, and they took Jesus to Golgotha. I mean, 1 minute, I am a man marked for death, and then the next, I'm free. It made no sense. So I followed them all the way to Golgotha.
I was stationed at Golgotha that day. We just raised the second criminal when he brought him to me. I'll never forget the way he looked. He'd been beaten, spit on, whipped. He was unrecognizable as a man. Hideous. What was left of his clothes was stripped off of him, and he was drawn down on a cross. That's when I went to work. Generally, when you crucify a man, the first hand is the most difficult. The criminal wants to get away, he fights you. So I would have 2 soldiers hold him down. But this guy, he didn't put up a fight. I just thought he was exhausted. As an executioner, I've been called every name in the book. I've had men yell at me, plead with me, but I wasn't prepared for that. He looked at us. He looked at me. And he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. He forgave me.
Forgive them. He said forgive them. Who is he? Forgive? It should have been me up there. I was the one who was supposed to be hanging on that cross. He took my place. Then I looked up, and I remember he took a deep, agonizing breath, and he said, it is finished. Then he died.
Surely, this man was the Son of God.